Hello, welcome back everybody. Let's have a look at, we'll just look at Matic then, shall we? So we'll just have a quick overview of Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin broken down to the level pretty much exactly where I expected it all this time, and our first opportunity to form an actual true reversal. So, this happened quite early on in the morning. It did wake me up, so I did actually put a buy in on this one, in the hope, well, not the hope really, but the opportunity is there that this might be an opportunity to spark a full reversal and perhaps maybe catch it at its bottom. I think it's unlikely, so I'm in profit now, but I do have a stop loss set in at 7,000, just in case it all falls back down again, which it probably will. It probably will come back down, because we still have this death crossing coming. It's not yet formed on some of these charts. I've noticed on TradingView it's formed, so it's definitely formed on TradingView. It's not formed on Binance, but it's going to happen probably tomorrow or certainly the day after, and then it'll be completely in the bag, and then it will fall down from the price level that it's at the time that it falls. I would expect maybe a 35% retracement or thereabouts, definitely more than 20% retracement from the price action that it forms at. Now, just a brief overview before we go on to Matic. Bitcoin will play a role in Matic's price, not as much as it has done in other altcoins prices, because you can see that Bitcoin has been having very, very bad days, and Matic has been having relatively good days. Matic has shown incredible strength throughout this entire process of Bitcoin breaking down. But if we do have this death cross form and we do go down a further 35% or so, Matic will be brought down with it too. Like I say, every opportunity that it falls down and bounces from these major target areas, so 6,600 was my first sort of opportunity to buy it. I didn't buy it at that level. I think I got it around 6,700 today, because it happened quite early in the morning. It effectively woke me up in the morning when it happened, so I didn't catch it right on the dot, but it's been an okay bounce at the moment. But judging by the wicks we've got on both sides, it's telling me it's definitely indecisive. It could go either way. In order to avoid this death cross, it needs to burst above all these moving averages here, smash right above every single one of them, all of these to be broken, and then get above this area here, which currently is the 200 exponential moving average. That's 8,366. It needs to get higher than that, and it needs to do that in the next day or two to avoid this death cross. Which might sound completely unlikely, but we have had moves like this in the past, not quite so long ago. So, but anyway, let's move on. So that's enough about Bitcoin. Let's have a look at Matic. So Matic, we've got these two major areas which we've been setting up as target areas, essentially ones that you could be selling at now. And by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice. However, just on another note, I have set up not so much a signal service, but a service where I post my trades for educational purposes, just so you can see where I'm in and where I'm out. And if you want to give me a donation to join that group, feel free. Send me a comment if it's something you're interested in. But like I say, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. It's just for educational purposes. If you want to see my trades, I will post them on a Telegram chat. But again, educational purposes only. Don't trade off the back of what I'm doing. It's just for you to see what I do. Right, so where were we? So Matic. So the first opportunity to actually sell would be at this level here. So we burst right through it, and look at where our candle is right now. It's just underneath the 2 cent area. That 2 cent area is historically where we were supported from after the parabolic move. So even after a parabolic move, we bounced on this level several times before we finally broke down, and we broke down kind of where the market began to go a little bit south around this area. But it was mostly after the fact that this coin did a 10x, and it had to break down after that. But the fact is, we bounced from it several times after the parabolic move, so it does show relative strength as a support. We were also rejected from it at this level, and I would say that this is going to be, I should say it should be a pretty hard resistance to smash through. It's no surprise that this is the level that our candle body is closed beneath right now. Now, Matic has done enormous things recently. If you think about where it's come from the last couple of months, it's basically doubled in its value. We are about to form a golden cross here, the green 50 about to cross this white 200. That would form the golden cross, and that will give us that extra push if we don't break down completely from here. We need to stay above this level here from 1.5%. If we can stay above 1.5%, then yeah, the golden cross will form. And if we're at this level now, the golden cross will form probably in the next couple of days. So pretty much doing the opposite of what Bitcoin wants to do, which is really interesting, because it's telling us now that if Bitcoin wants to break down and it's dragging all the altcoins down with it, apart from Matic, what does that really mean? I mean, what's driving this with Matic? I can't tell you. All I can tell you is resistances, supports, and what the moving averages suggest, and a few other indicators. So clearly the MACD is extremely bullish on this daily chart, and it will be. And to be honest with you, that's nothing to go by when we have moves like this. It's never really going to be. It's not an indicator as such. If anything, it's going to tell us when it's going to get tired out, because it's going to reach an absolute high point, which it pretty much is doing right now. But Matic has been on such a drive at the moment that it wouldn't surprise me if we wake up tomorrow morning and we see ourselves in this area. And this area is going to be where a lot of the big moves are going to be played out. This will be essentially a giant scalping area. So breaking above the 2 cent should give us that opportunity to really start pushing towards this main, and this is the be all and end all support and resistance level. Breaking above this one is where I would imagine that Matic will hopefully not go parabolic, but start to make some big moves. I want it to be more constructive. I don't want it to look anything like this, to be honest with you. And seeing a candle like this is exciting as it is for someone who holds Matic, and I do hold a lot of Matic. It's a little worrying, because I do not want to see something as crazy as this. And you might think I'm mad by saying that, but there's a reason for it. Is that parabolic moves basically mean long drawn out consolidations, and that's not what we want. We want to see constructive pullbacks at this point. We want to see a nice zigzagging pattern up and away, bouncing, cooling off, bouncing, cooling off, and breaking up above this area. And it is my theory that once this area is broken, we probably will look like we're going parabolic. We may begin to come close to doubling in its value by a couple of months from now, at some point in January, if we carry on like this. And I'm not saying this I've been saying this for a while now. I'm not saying it off the back of what's happened today. I'm saying it because this is the be-all and end-all of the resistance level. You can see how on the parabolic move broke down, you can see where the candle bodies were closing, which are around this area, between here and 3 cent. Okay, when we were rejected from this level after the parabolic move, we were bouncing on the 2 cent, we rejected from the 2.7 cent, we were bouncing again on the 2 cent, and the last and final attempt to break above it was rejected from this level. So this level does mean something. It certainly is an area that will cause rejection, but once broken, it's not uncharted territory, but it's pretty much free rein to really start to grow. It would be a very bullish sign for us to break above this 2.7 cent area. So what am I saying now? I'm saying we're going to probably cool off for a little bit and have another few attempts to break above the 2 cent zone. And I'm not very good with timing. I can't really tell you what's going to happen time-wise, because we do have Bitcoin doing its thing as well. And again, Matic will be subject to pullbacks that are initiated from Bitcoin. As you can see on this big red wick here, we broke down here with Bitcoin, but we were just launched from there. So we are susceptible to Bitcoin's moves, definitely. But even so, from here to here is an 80% move. I mean, that's it needs a pullback. So don't be disheartened if we see a pullback. All we should worry about is staying above, comfortably above the 1.5 cent, allowing this golden cross to form, which the way it's going right now, it will form in only a few days, and that is on the daily chart, and that is pretty much one of the most bullish indicators you can find. and like I say, we are a few days just away from that. We just cannot stress how important it is to stay above that level in order for that to create that cross. Now, Matic can move extremely volatile, and it can go both up and down, as we can see on this chart, but it is crucial that we stay above that level. That's all I've really got to say about it, really. I mean, we have to just wait and see how this one plays out. Don't be upset when you see pullbacks from the 2 cent area. That's to be expected. That's because that was a significant support there and a pretty tough resistance. So that's where we are at right now. So expect a pullback to give you an absolute sort of support and resistance level. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it came down to as low as around about 1.6 cent. Before making another attempt to 2 cent. But Matic's a very difficult asset to chart and track. First of all, mainly because it's so new. It's not had a cycle yet. There is no cycle. It would appear that we're now sort of attempting to retest previous areas, but it's not a cycle. We're not even a year into this chart right now, and realistically, a lot of this you could kind of write off in a way, because it was mostly FOMO. We began this chart when we broke down, and to be honest with you, I would only really class from these levels here as an actual chart, even though we've got indicators from previous historical support and resistances to go by. Realistically, the chart begins here for me, and we've got certain things to go by historically that will help us with support and resistance. But look at this area here. I mean, all of this bit that we're looking at here isn't anything to go by, really. Nothing should ever really look like that. Nothing should come out onto the scene and immediately do a 10x and then consolidate, for the best part of a year afterwards. It's not, I wouldn't say it's unhealthy, I wouldn't say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think it's a very misleading thing. And I know a lot of people, who love Matic, all calling it to be going to, $10 or whatever. I mean, maybe it will go to $10. You've got to think of all kinds of things fundamentally with the coin, that there's a very, very big circulating supply of Matic. I mean, off the top of my head, it's it's in the billions. I think it might be 10 billion. If you had 10 billion Matic coins, all worth $10 a piece, I mean that's just I mean, I can't even. I'm not going to do the maths for you right now, but it's a lot. It's too much. I'm not going to say it can't do that. Of course it could, but is it unlikely? Yeah, it's unlikely. I think when we talk about Matic in the long run, and I'm talking about the next couple of years before this crypto market has finished its full cycle, realistically we can be talking anywhere from $1 to maybe $5 at the very, very most. $5 would be incredibly. I'd be very surprised if we got to $5, but between $1 and $5. Which basically means if it did that now, if it did $1 now, that's 50x from the value it's at right now, and that to me is achievable. It's actually quite likely. So 50x return on an investment is pretty good. But again, who knows? You look at something like XRP went to $3.50, and that had an enormous total supply. So anything is possible, but like I say, let's focus on one step at a time. That's how we can. That's the only way we can trade. We can theorize and make all kinds of wild assumptions as much as you like. Let's focus on what's happening, from day to day, week to week, and month to month. And the next step is to break above the 2 cent area, be rejected from the 2.7. Hopefully 2 cent will remain as a support, and we will zigzag across here before we break above, and that's when we will start to see some really big moves, and probably looking at around about 5 cent in around January or so. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice evening and take it easy.